Can you do a startup on the side while holding a full-time job? Or when is a good time to quit your job to completely focus on your own startup? That and a bit more on today's episode. This is Bald and Blunt. After the first episode of Bald and Blunt, I had asked everybody out there to send in any questions, queries, anything that I could answer on any of these episodes. So Fahaduddin from Karachi, Pakistan sent me a query asking me that can a person with a full-time job do a startup on the side? Now, yes, you can, but there's kind of like a few questions that you need to answer before you get into it. That question and another question that is usually at the back of everybody's minds is, when should I quit my job to completely focus on a startup that I have? So there's no easy answer to this. So number one, you have to keep in mind that any startup that you're doing, it will require a lot of your time for the most part if you really wanted to grow. Now, having said that, maybe it's a company that does not require all of your time, and maybe you can just give 2 or 3 hours on a daily basis to it and still get away with it. So let's say you're done by 6ish every day, you get back home, you grab something to eat, and then you start working on your startup. And that could possibly work many of the time, but at the same time, you need to understand that this the ratio of success that you'll reach will also be almost equal to the amount of time that you'll be putting in. So if you're looking at making $1 million company, then I pretty much doubt that you'll be able to do that after working a 9 to 5 job on a daily basis. At the same time, you also need to be aware of one thing, that putting in just a few hours and expecting a huge turnout from it is not going to happen, A. B, it's going to take a toll on you. So many a time, many people say, hey, I want to do this, but I can't because of XYZ, or because of the fact that, hey, I have to have a work-life balance, stuff like that. But you need to understand that that's not really going to happen. So if you have a full-time job and you also want to do your own startup on the side, then you'll have to lose some sleep over that. You'd have to be ready for that. You cannot expect that you'll be able to mint a lot of money suddenly and gain success overnight by just not putting in the work for it. Now, what you'll have to do is cut down on all your social time that you're doing. Maybe watch less of the episodes of Game of Thrones or whatever else you're watching all the time. You'll have to really, be less of a socialite as well, because it's not going to be that easy for you. So you need to be able to make all the sacrifices in order to get there. And of course, there will come a time where you'll be deciding whether you should be quitting your job to completely focus on the startup. And the kind of person that I am, I would perhaps, if I'm feeling very, very passionate about something, maybe I would quit a job and jump into it suddenly. But that's not really smart. So you need to understand that you need to offset all of the cash that you're earning via your 9 to 5 with this new company. So maybe the best way to do it is to spend a few months on the side and get enough traction in it that you may be able to get the very bare minimum cash from this business before you quit your job. Now, usually people do a job first and then they start their own company, and that's where they're making this decision. Now, for me, personal story here, I've been doing startups for like 15 years now, and just for the past 1 year I got hired by one of the largest logistics companies in Pakistan to as a chief disruption officer to help them become a startup. Now, this may seem counterintuitive that why would an entrepreneur do a job, but I took it up as a challenge because maybe that kind of exposure is something that I have not had, and that is something that I want to try out. At the same time, my small startups on the side are still active. So this question is very, very much something that I have to do on a daily basis. So for example, I'm recording this on Labor Day. Today, I'm at my own office. I have not taken the day off. I'm recording this video today, and also at the same time I had to cater to a couple of clients, and they were here at the office, and I was able to get that work done. So if you're not ready to make these kind of sacrifices, if you want to take off on weekends all the time, and if you want to just take it, take a chill pill and expect you're going to have one of the fastest growing startups out there, that is not going to happen. So to answer your question again in a very summarized manner, yes, you can do a startup on the side, and yes, it may be relatively successful, but the success is only defined by the amount of time that you invest into it. And also, when you're ready to quit, again, that's your decision, but you need to understand that if you're going to quit well before time where your startup is unable to cope with all the requirements that you have from it, so if you want to pay your bills, if you want to have that small mini vacation on the side, if you're expecting a startup to pay for that, that's not going to happen. And if you want that to happen, then you better make sure that you don't quit before your startup is able to cater for all of that. So I guess that answers that question, and I really hope that you guys actually gain some benefit from me answering these questions. And I really hope that next time I get a few more questions to answer, and if there's any specific topic that you want me to talk about, drop me a message, put down a comment, but do not fail to subscribe to my videos, and also remember to hit that bell icon up there, because otherwise you won't get notified for all the videos that I put up. And please give me some feedback on these videos and tell me how it's going. That's it for this episode. See you next time.